We are live now. Welcome to Strange Journeys. About a month ago, I was contacted by my friend Richard Stevens, sharing with me some videos and pictures that had been captured by his friend Scott in Anchorage, Alaska. What I saw blew my mind. We've all seen pictures and videos of orbs before, but what Richard sent me from Scott belies any logical reasoning, especially when is seen what is seen in one specific video that we'll share today. These occurrences have happened recently within the last few weeks, and I am honored and humbled to be able to talk to Scott and Richard today and share with you this current spat of high strangeness that Scott has encountered in Alaska. So hang on, this is definitely going to be one strange journey.
Do you want to take a trip? With you ghost host Tom and ghost guy Tim. And the executive team, Andrea, Ben, Dagny, Donnie, Lewis, Lynn, Selina and Tom. Are you ready? Here we go.
Yep, here we go. This is Strange Journeys. I'm your ghost host, Tom Rouse, and with us today is Richard Stevens. We're going to be introducing him fully later. Selina, one of our ETs, the team is down here with us. Tim, my regular ghost guy, ghost host, his dad is a retired veteran, and his mom was wanting to do something special for him tonight, and so that was. I told him, I said, family first. If they wanted him there, cool, go for it. I hate that he's not with us, but I understand because family first for all of us. Now, Scott, who actually had all these encounters, should be on his way.
Yeah, he just he just mentioned that he's logging in now.
Okay, good. But we're going to go ahead and get some housekeeping out of the way while he's logging in. Remember that we provide these shows first and foremost for you, the watchers, for your entertainment. We are not by any means and do not claim to be scholars or experts in any of the topics we cover. Now, today, Scott that's logging on, he's the one that actually experienced all this. So he's going to be our expert today. But the rest of us are just simply enthusiasts and storytellers who have fun with these topics while doing our best to respect individual beliefs. And please remember that this show is live. Nothing is rehearsed or edited out later. What you see is what you get. And also remember, okay, there's Scott. We're adding him in there right now. Okay, I don't know what that is.
I'm getting it.
Okay, he's getting it. All right. And remember, you can support us at Patreon, PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. Links are in the description down below. You'll see them there. Patreon, of course, is a monthly commitment. If you can do that for us and be one of our patrons, we'd certainly appreciate it. But if you're digging the show and just want to throw a tip in the jar when you're listening to live music, you can do that through PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. All that info down below.
There we go.
And also, there he is. You are watching us on YouTube, so you know what to do.
Click that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Like and subscribe to all these videos that Papa Tom made. Hit that notification bell up. My work here is done now.
You heard him. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, sign up for notifications, all that good stuff because you're watching on YouTube. But also remember that in the next few days, this show will be available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, wait a minute, one of those, Pandora and iHeartRadio. That's right, we lost Stitcher a while back. Spotify, Google Podcast, now I'm getting tongue-tied, podcast, Pandora, and iHeartRadio. And also because of that, now, today is going to be a little different. When we started moving our shows to these audio-only formats, we stopped showing as many pictures on our shows. But this one is a unique show, a standalone, and it's all based on pictures and videos that we have. So if you're listening later on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pandora, or iHeart, Please find this episode on YouTube so that you can check out all these pics and videos. But we do upload the video portion to Spotify, so you can also watch us there. And one thing to remember on Spotify, you can leave us a message or a tip if you like, right there in the description of the show. Okay, Scott must be having some issues.
Yeah, he pushed the wrong button, but he's back.
Sorry about that. I should have quit shoveling snow about 20 minutes ago and got all this ready.
That's all right. Well, you made it, and that's the main thing. Thank you for being here. We're going to get to some full introductions here in just a second. Also, remember to check out our merch site, strangestuff.live. You see that? Yeah, strangestuff.live and our strange merch. This is the Strange Journeys knockoff of Stranger Things that Andrea designed for us. And some cool things you can get there. And I am wearing tonight, let me see. I'm wearing our, where's it at? Our Krampus. I'm wearing the Krampus shirt. Where's the? I'm trying to find the one I'm wearing.
Huh?
No, Krampus was here. That's the one I've got it on the back. Yeah, this is the one I'm wearing tonight. Krampus was here, two-sided. Where it shows. That's on the back of my shirt. Krampus was here. So, and the hat I'm wearing is this one, but it didn't come out too well on the embroidery. It's still a cool hat, but the embroidery doesn't work too well on the cap, so I'm gonna have to remove that one. But some of our latest offerings are the remember the mantra of this show? The only true and irrefutable evidence of the paranormal or supernatural is personal experience. We have that on a shirt now.
Cool.
But we also have I See Strange People. You can get a baby's onesie. It says I See Strange People. And then the We Need to Talk shirts. I love these. It just says we need to talk. And don't you hate to hear that phrase? You know, when somebody comes up to you and says, we need to talk. But look what this says. Oh. And then the other one is, let's see. This one is about Bigfoot. So, anyway, check us out there at strangestuff.live and get you some cool stuff, cool swag. And then you can just be parading it around like I do. See, there's Krampus. You can't really see too clear. Krampus on my shirt. I designed that logo so we can sell as many as we want. We're not bound by any licensing agreement. Okay, the last show we had, it's been about a month ago because of just scheduling issues, but Selina was on with me, and we talked about what are we dealing with part 2. Do you remember that, Selina?
Yeah.
Barely?
A little
Vaguely?
bit. Vaguely. It's been a while.
Yeah, we talked about if you haven't been going through our YouTube channel, we got some highly unique shows on here. But the what are we dealing with? We did part 1 and part 2, and we take 10 strange stories, and then we I mean they're not long. I mean each show is like 10 stories, and then we talk about what was it? Was it a cryptid? Was it a fairy? And Lynn's saying howdy, y'all. My lovely wife Lynn showing up.
Hey, Lynn.
but we take those 10 stories, and Selena and I we would just discuss it, you know, and like, what was that really? Was it really a ghost? One of them was the oh God, what is the thing out in California with the two legs and the I said it looked like a puppet.
You said
Night crawlers,
stick man.
the
Oh, okay.
Fresno night crawlers.
Yeah.
And this girl said that she was driving along and saw something walk across the road, and it was kind of ethereal and see-through, transparent, and she drove right through it. But then when she saw a picture of the Fresno Nightcrawler, she said, "That's what I saw." So was it
Yeah.
really a Fresno Nightcrawler? And that led to my "What Do I Know" segment on our Spotify page of what is a spirit even shaped like? You know, is if that was a spirit, is that really what they're shaped like, or are they just an amorphous cloud? Who knows? So check out our last show. What are we dealing with? Part two, and here's some weird stories and what we think it might have been. And some of them, you know, I think if I remember correctly, Selena, we didn't even think they were paranormal or supernatural.
Yeah.
They were just
Yeah. Some of them.
an unusual thing. A couple of them could have been, you know, secret military technology. So check those out. And like I said, I'm glad you're with us tonight because we have a special show. As I mentioned in the cold open, my friend Richard contacted me about some events of high strangeness that his friend Scott has been experiencing in Anchorage, Alaska. And what I've seen in the videos and pictures defy explanation. And we want to share those with you this evening. But first, I'd like to introduce you to both of these guys that we have the honor and privilege of having as our special guests. So, Scott Hack, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll let Richard do the same. And guys, thank you for your service, by the way. This is the Veterans Day weekend. We appreciate all that you've done for us.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hi. I'm Scott, and I live in Alaska. Richard and I both grew up in Michigan, and that's where we met as teenagers. And you know, we
Scott, your video is frozen.
yeah, you know
You
what?
did that on purpose.
I did a dumb thing. I tried to do a virtual background. I thought the Doctor Who background would look kind of cool, and now I can't seem to get it to get off. And all it is frozen. I've been trying to turn it off. Why don't you have Rick introduce himself while I get this dumb thing off of here? So, is that all right? Would that be all right?
Yes, that's fine.
All right.
That's what happens when you get a malfunctioning TARDIS. You just never know where it's going to take you.
You never know where it's going to take you. I'm going to leave and come back.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Scott. Richard, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Richard over here in Palmetto, Florida. Scott and I, as he said, we've known each other for a long time. I met Scott through another friend in high school. And it's kind of funny because one day he just takes me to the lunchroom. Scott and some other friends were sitting there at the table. And one of those friends had a book he was looking at called The Dead Sea Scrolls. And I was intrigued. I didn't really know anything about them. I didn't even know about the Dead Sea. And but it just something about it caught my attention. And of course, the story goes on from there. We've all been friends for a long time, you know, and just a lot of adventures, a lot of spiritual growth. And it's always been my privilege to have Scott as a, a partner and a pal on this journey of life. It really is.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Popped out there. But you mentioned the Dead Sea Scrolls. I remember the first time I heard about it was my dad preaching from the pulpit and telling
Oh,
the story
yeah.
about the shepherds or whatever throwing a rock up in there or something and hearing the jars bust and all that, and they got in there and found them. And
It's quite the miracle. Yeah.
yeah, just the fact that they've survived all this time. And was it Josh
Yeah.
Gates or what? Another show that I was watching where they using infrared technology or something to be able to scan some of them that they couldn't get to, or they couldn't unroll it or something like
Right.
that. And so
I don't remember who that was, but yeah.
it's well, it's not. I don't think it's infrared. It's like multi-spectrum light. Trying to get in
Yeah.
there to read this one scroll that if they pulled it open, it would destroy it. So they're
Yeah.
trying to read it without destroying it. So that's
Yeah,
how
I
they.
have a that's not a bad idea. Catching it from
Yeah.
different angles and such. That would be amazing. What's even more amazing is some of those old books that were written
Mhm.
I mean, from our original Bible is you have the Septuagint, and the scrolls indicated almost a word for word exactitude of those that were written in the Dead Sea Scrolls hundreds and hundreds of years before that,
Right.
and just passed down from one generation to the next. That's what scribes did. You read about the scribes and the Pharisees. The scribes
Right.
had a sacred duty to record the scriptures that were given to them,
They were
word
the
for
original
word.
Xerox machines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there wasn't any other way to do it. They didn't know about printing presses
They
and
had
things.
to
So
copy it letter by letter.
yeah, and each
Yeah.
one, every time they wrote either a letter or a word, they prayed, and then they did it again, and they did it again. It was just tedious beyond comprehension, but it gave us an exactitude of replication that no other culture's been able to manage at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it was amazing. My favorite author, um, jeez, can't believe this, Lawhead.
Yeah,
Um,
Stephen Lawhead.
yeah,
He's the greatest, isn't he? I love his work.
my mind just went blank on his first name. I don't know. I mean, I've been reading him for 30 years. I just all I could think of was Lawhead. But anyway, his book Patrick. No, was it? No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
Was it Patrick? Yeah, they were scribing a special edition of the scriptures to present to the emperor.
yep,
That's how that book started. Is they were spending day after day, you know, painting and repainting those pages, to get it just right.
right.
Whew, I
Yeah.
could, too much for me.
Yeah, I that would have been like working on an assembly line for 16 hours a day. I
Oh my
couldn't do it.
god, no, I couldn't either. All right, who's rattling chains? Come on.
Oh,
It was
that's my dog.
really. Oh, okay. Those street chains. Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Bob Marley showed up. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let me ask you this. Since Scott's having some issues, I was going to ask both of you this, but we'll go ahead and start with you. When
All
did
right.
you, or what prompted you to take an interest in the subject of high strangeness? When
Um.
we were talking earlier, Scott brought up the fact that there's not really a supernatural or paranormal. It's all part of our existence, basically. But it's just these things are outside of our normal experience.
Right. Yeah. We can't see in certain spectrums. Where our physical bodies are blocked by other physical objects. Like we can't pass through walls. We can't
There he is.
detect infrared, ultraviolet, and so there are things that are out there that are able to interact with those frequencies, and I found that fascinating. I found other aspects of what is normally considered a spiritual reality, and it is indefinable as much as dark matter is in our universe. We just
Mhm.
don't know what it is. And I think what we are seeing are aspects of that part of our reality that we can't perceive with our senses. And that's really what the heart of faith is. being able to perceive things in ways with a part of ourselves that is a part of that invisible universe.
I think, and this is just something I'm picking up, and I'm no expert or scholar by any means. And which I think anybody that says they're an expert on the paranormal are an idiot. Because how can you be an expert on something that cannot be physically researched, touched, felt, seen? You can experience it, but if anybody goes around saying they're an expert in it, then it makes me question their viability in a sense. But it's been going around a lot that there is. Well, Elizabeth Parker, a dear friend of ours down here, he says, there are different realms, different realities. Um, uh, a quote from a Stephen King book: "There are other worlds than these," and whether they're physical like this or amorphous and ethereal, I don't know. So I think that's kind of where the paranormal research is going nowadays. That it's not just ghost, per se. This person died and now they're manifesting here. That it's just another realm. Um, oh God, something came up in my head and now it just left. Anyway, Scott, we were going back to where you came from, your background a little bit
Sure.
before we get into what's been going on.
Hi. Sorry. I promise not to touch anything. Little knowledge is a dangerous thing, right? We tested this all out on phone, and we didn't test it out. I didn't test it out on my little Mac Mini, and I think I was overloading it. So my background. I mean, I've done a lot of things. I'm currently in the medical field, and but I mean, I've done a lot of things.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Almost, yeah. Now, my computer just got rid of. There we go. Okay. I was looking over the notes, and from what I heard Richard saying when I came back on, you were talking about supernatural or not or that kind of thing. We talked about I kind of made the flippant statement that it's all natural, but I mean, and that is kind of a flippant statement because we live in a quote unquote natural realm, and there's a lot of things that are outside of this realm that you could call supernatural. But where I get that from is when I was a teenager, young teen, I was very interested in science. Science fascinated me, and dinosaurs and fossils and just science in general, and then I became a Christian. I had an encounter with the Lord, and I knew that encounter was real, and that relationship was real. There was no doubt about that in my mind. And in late 70s, kind of still today, there's this misperception out there that there and was then that science and God or faith they can't go together, they're everybody knows they're mutually exclusive. So I kind of let go of science for a little while because I knew that this relationship with God was real, but I couldn't. I found it too fascinating, and so I would keep looking into it. And then what I found out not too far in was there was no conflict whatsoever with what I believed and with science. Now there's a conflict between what an atheistically minded scientist, the conclusions that they might come to, and the Bible and so on and so forth. But there was no conflict in the data, in the raw science. And when you really studied the science and you really studied the Bible, I mean, really, not just passing over, kind of, just what everybody hears. yeah, I found that there was no conflict at all. In fact, that got me really excited. And so, because I didn't have to let go of science, and so I got, somebody wanted to talk about science. I was like, bring it on. You want to talk about fossils? Bring it on. I and so I didn't have any problem with science and the Bible, and I never have. And that was 14, 15 years old, and I'm turning 60 this month. So, and it's never changed. And I still get excited about science and the Word of God and my relationship with God. Now comes to strange things, paranormal, supernatural, what have you. Well, it's really the same thing. And what I mean by that is I don't have any conflict with that and my relationship with God or the Bible at all. They fit hand in glove. And so, my faith, if you want to put it that way, is just reinforced. And then so what got me interested in this is I just like with science, I just want to know. I just want to know what the truth is, what reality is. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not talking about getting into quote unquote forbidden knowledge and, knowing, getting into knowing stuff for the sake of knowing it because of curiosity. I think that can sometimes lead us into, it's kind of like, geez, just want to know what crack feels like. I don't need to, know what crack feels like. Okay? There's some things I don't need to know.
Knowledge you don't need.
Yeah, even supernaturally. I just want to know what's true. Okay.
Yeah. And
so when I encounter the weirdness that's in the world, again, does it contradict what I find in the Bible? No, it doesn't at all. It might challenge my understanding of it at the moment and cause me to have to dig deeper and look a little further. And I don't mean that in a sense of looking to support my belief. I'm looking to know what's true.
Right.
And I don't have any fear of finding out what's true.
Well, yeah, like I've said before,
it's
not wrong to, it's not wrong to question God. People say, oh, you can't question God. And well, I was like, well, Abraham did it, Jesus did it, because you want to know.
I don't think there's anything wrong with asking questions. Absolutely. He's got big shoulders. He can handle them. Exactly. Here's the thing. You got to do it sincerely and genuinely. If you're just throwing out something there in just with hey, you question me with an attitude, I might give you an attitude answer back, right? But if you got an honest question, I'll answer you honestly. And God is better than me at that. So anyway, that's what led me into it. I just want to know. I just want to know what the truth is of the reality. And I've asked the Lord to just show me what's real and help me to understand it, because I don't have any fear of that, and I don't have any fear of where that'll lead me. Truth will always lead you to the right place. It's but you gotta have a desire to know the truth, and not just reinforce what you already believe.
That's a good point, because that's where
from
a lot of people
direction.
Yeah, Lynn agrees with you, Scott. She says some things you just don't need to know.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, it's a path of truth that honestly, what I've run into is I've been warned by other Christians. Oh, you better not be ghost hunting. You never know what you're gonna find. And I'm like, I mean, what's funny is one of our team, Lewis, he runs southernspiritguide.org, the blog, and has written a book about ghosts in Alabama. He said he was ghost hunting in a building in Georgia once with a Pentecostal family.
Oh,
He says,
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
he's like they were. He does this. They were in an elevator investigating a building one night, and the grandmother and the granddaughter were in the elevator with him, and he's just standing there waiting for the elevator to go down, and he starts hearing the old grandmother start praying in tongues and slapping at the granddaughter. And said, "The thing's trying to attach to you. Let's get it off." You know, because I mean, well, I see. I mean, that's no different than bringing in a Catholic priest. You know, you're calling in an outside force, a higher power. You know, um, call it what you will. You know, and it's the thing of you want to know. I mean,
Well, I just want to
that's
know what's
just
true.
yeah,
And here's the thing about the supernatural, about the spirit realm. Human beings are, in my opinion, we are woefully inept in that realm and easily deceived. So you have to be real cautious about what you go looking after. I'm not looking for stuff. I'm just observing things and looking for an explanation. I'm not
right.
seeking it out. I'm not ghost hunting. I'm not going and looking for things. I'm just noticing that they're there.
It's like
There's
And that leads you right.
what's that?
I was saying, and that exactly leads you to where you stumbled upon what you have in your secure cams and such
yeah.
that just blew
Yeah.
my
Well,
mind.
before
I
we
wasn't
get there,
looking for it.
Richard. Okay, I'm sorry, Scott.
Yes.
No. I said
All
just
right.
that I wasn't looking for it. I just saw
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Well,
Exactly.
Richard, you brought these to my attention last month. What was it about these events that prompted you to bring them to me and to use this show as an avenue for exposure?
Well, I've seen at least a couple of your episodes, and you know, I like your ma and pop kind of format that you got here. You're not great big coast to coast kind of thing. You're just regular guys, and I really like this. It's like a
I appreciate
fireside
it.
chat, you know, kind of
Well,
operation, and you know,
well, think
it's
about this. It's like
go
when you
ahead.
and Scott get together and
Yeah,
y'all just talking back and forth.
yeah,
I mean, that's what I want the show to be. You know, I'm not looking for fully produced. I mean, when we started this, I was trying to get people's attention, and so we were doing this little intros and special videos for all kind of stuff and playing them throughout the show. And I finally just said, you know, we just want to talk. You know, let's just discuss these things. But
exactly. No pressure, nothing from sponsors you got to worry about. You're just here to bring some interesting things that are happening to people all over the world
well,
to our
what was
attention.
it?
Yeah,
Elizabeth said one time that this show was shining a flashlight in those dark corners to show that there's really nothing there to be afraid of.
yeah,
You know,
that's pretty
so
good.
I like that analogy because to me there is nothing out there to be afraid of. You know, some of you know our little saga that Lynn and I've been going through here. We are ready to move out of our location. We're ready to get a house and get somewhere else. And last night was another nail in the coffin for this place. I walked out to walk our puppy, and it was after 9 o'clock. And just as soon as I opened the door, my puppy started yapping and going crazy. And because at that same moment, down the street, like two houses down, there was a guy standing in the middle of the street yelling like a banshee, just wah, just roaring, you know, at the top of his lungs after 9 o'clock at night. And I sat there and I'm watching him. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, and at
Wow.
first there was that startled sensation. You're like, oh, you know, and then I got to watching it and I was like, there's nothing there to be afraid of.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, Selena and I have talked about this before. When people have experienced something out of their norm, like the guy that said he saw the mantis man, whether
Yeah.
that's a real mantis man or thing or not, but he said it exuded evil. And
Yeah.
my point is, was that really evil, or were you just so startled and you felt fear and apprehension because this was so outside your realm that it seemed like evil to you?
Yeah.
You know, people have seen these insect-like beings in their abduction scenarios. Whether they're real or not, I'm not calling that into question. But you know, or some have said that those insect-like beings were just there doing their job. Nothing to be afraid of. They're just doing their job. You know, nothing, evil at all. And it's just, to me, it's what is. I think it comes back again to personal experience. If we're experiencing fear and apprehension, is that really coming from that source that we're experiencing, or is it coming from inside of us? But anyway, that's just my thought. I'll get off my soapbox. All right. Hey, Scott, take us back to the beginning, when and where this all started. And we're going to show some videos. Before we go there, Lynn had another comment.
Well, my mom met this handsome young man, and they fell in love.
Not that far back.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But Lynn was saying the issue comes with plowing headlong into something, looking for knowledge, but not using wisdom.
Agreed. Yeah. So, I got interested in the whole Bigfoot phenomena. I'm going back a little bit further back, and found that when I went out with a friend, we came across a whole lot more than I ever expected to. Just a ton of tracks, lots of evidence in completely random situations, and even have heard them running past sound recording things, throwing rocks at cabins,
Wow.
leaving footprints right next to the outdoor commode, and pacing us as we walk out of the woods. In other words, as you're walking, it's matching your footsteps. Yeah, I was there when that happened, and so that is fresh. If you zoom in on that, if somebody's watching this, take a screenshot of that and then zoom in, and you will see toe prints. Okay, that is fresh mud. And when you're just kind of glancing, that is a screenshot off of a video that I took. There you go. See, you can see some toe prints in those. Okay,
I've got a couple of closer shots that you sent me.
Okay, now I gotta let me tell you about this, okay? Because we had gone out, and we had crossed a river that was low, and there was somebody who was either homeless or just on hard times or whatever, sleeping in their truck on a gravel bar up the river a little ways. You just got to understand Alaska. If you understand Alaska, you'll understand that. Anyway, so there was this guy in his truck. So we go up and we roam around for about 4 hours or so, and have some amazing encounters. Come back, and there's all these tracks in this fresh mud, and they're about normal people size. Okay, it looked like somebody had just run back and forth, and then there was one really big track, not human size. So what we think happened was there was some juniors, some little ones, which are like full human size. That's little ones that were watching this guy sleeping in his truck. And when we pulled up on the four-wheelers, they kind of did this back and forth thing. And Mama said, you need to get out of here. There was no way that those were, first of all, there's nobody out there running around barefoot in the mud. And when you
look down at the bottom of this one,
when you glance at it, you think they're mud boots until you start noticing the toe prints. Okay. And I was so excited about it that I didn't take good pictures, and I didn't want to get down in the mud. I had already taken lots of pictures of other tracks, but I scanned it with the video, and these were screenshots from that scan. And so we think that we just came up on them and they ran off. It was mud.
Wow.
There's a saying, mud don't lie. Okay.
Yeah.
You cannot fake stuff in mud. If you would leave something more if it wasn't just what it looked like it was.
Right.
And so anyway, I went back that far to say, okay, I got interested in saying, okay, I want to know what this is. I want to know what the story is on this. And so, and then I got to the point where I come to the belief that if you seek these things out, you start inviting more stuff to happen to you. So like, for those who know or knew who Scott Carpenter was, he was of the belief that, the more you kind of interacted, the more you opened up doors for stuff to kind of follow you home. So I kind of subscribe to that notion. And again, and not looking for this stuff anymore, just looking and paying attention to what's around me. Because I've seen videos where couples walk out their door, there's a black bear 3 feet away. They never see it. They walk out, lock the door, and keep going. That's how we are with stuff out there. There's stuff all around us all the time, and we just never see it. So I just started paying attention. And so then I've had these Arlo cameras that for my shop and around the property, and they're little. Anybody who knows the Arlo camera, when it gets triggered, the infrared comes on, or if you remote turn it on, the infrared comes on. Mm-hmm. And I remember always thinking, every time I turned it on, it looked like there was a lot of precipitation blowing around or something like that. And I just figured it was always drizzly or something when I turned them on. Well, then I got Ring cameras, and I got the Ring doorbells, and I got the floodlight security cams on the back. And I started looking at the footage, just checking, because I've had stuff stolen out of the backyard and stuff like that, and just paying attention to what's going on. And I start seeing, these Ring cameras, the floodlight security cams, they're a lot better than the Arlo cameras. And I start seeing stuff a lot. Well, and that doesn't even look like precipitation there, but that's, you start seeing stuff going and I start paying attention to it. And it's like, now, wait a minute, this isn't precipitation. This is kind of coming up and it's coming sideways. And that one right there looked kind of weird, looked like a soap bubble, and we see it. And I'm starting to, I've become familiar with orbs, and am I seeing orbs and that type of thing? And I start paying a little closer attention. Then I realized that the stuff that I was seeing on the Arlo camera all along wasn't precipitation. It was, these things, and that is calm compared to a bunch of other ones that I've recorded, where it just looks like it looks like a snowstorm, and there's no wind, there's nothing going on. There is, it is dead calm out there. And this was just a little bit. It's in the high 20s, low 30s. There's no bugs. I've walked around out there and looked at it, and this stuff is not blowing around out there, but I'm seeing it on infrared. And so I start sharing it with Rick, and that one right there.
Yeah, there he is.
Then it comes up, it almost looks like it looks at the camera, says, yeah, okay, bye, and goes back the way it came and off to the side. And I told Rick, I said, it's like an intelligent soap bubble. It just looks like a soap bubble with a little more intelligence than just, random.
Exactly.
And so I'm starting to share the stuff. In fact, there was one before that kind of it was much brighter and floated off over the neighbor's fence. Yeah, I think you got that one, Tom. And that one has some weird. No, it wasn't that one.
Okay,
But
when I turn this on,
this was the last one.
It was a very early one. It's got that vocalization, or it's either a car revving up in the front, going down, but there's this weird noise that comes after this thing sort of zigzags away.
And if I might interject about that noise, the familiarity of it hit me when I was listening to some of Ron Moorhead's Sierra sounds, and these kinds of growls that Sasquatch was making sounded it. It had at that point it had a point where it sounded just like that.
Yeah.
It either was, I mean, it either was a motorcycle or some kind of ATV, or it was Bigfoot, because they both sounded exactly like the ones from Ron Moorhead Sierra sounds. Very,
Looks like
very close.
Tom, looks like
Yeah.
this. The video looks like this. Yeah, that thing just comes up to the camera and then leaves. Okay, hold on. Let me show you the beginning of this, because this is the video I'm talking about. 1 second. Okay. Looks like that.
Hmm.
You got that one?
Yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about.
I think is that it?
Nope, that's not
Nope.
it. That's the really weird one.
Yeah, we're gonna get. I'm saving
we'll
that
get
one.
to
I'm
that.
saving that one because that's Selena. Just hang on to your hat. That
Okay.
Let me see here. Let me just go back.
On YouTube, it's labeled September 28, but
Yeah, you had sent that to me. Let's see.
let me see if I can get it there. It looks.
Yeah. On that video, I can see that.
Is that the one? That one's on YouTube, didn't you say?
I do have it on YouTube, yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
you
under
sent me
my
that.
videos, and it's labeled September 28.
I'm gonna do it a second here.
Do you want me to send it to you?
No, let's
Facebook?
see. I'm going back. I thought I had downloaded everything that you had sent me. I've got another one. Let's see.
Yeah,
here.
that one was sort of critical because it was the first video he had sent me,
Right.
and it caught my attention
Just send it
immediately.
to you and Rick again. I shared the link.
Okay. I was going back through. Let's see.
Yeah, and that one is just clearly an orblet, whatever you want to. I call it orblet. It just sounds kind of funny. Call it an orblet. Because it's not big, it's just little, but it goes up and it just goes like this and about 20 feet in the air and goes off into the distance. And then you get this weird noise, and I kind of always figured it. Yeah, and that those
Good job,
cameras,
Richard.
they distort sound so much that I could not attribute it to anything with any confidence.
It would be it'd be nice if we could get a sound analyzer.
Well,
to
Thinker
catch
does
that.
He's pretty good. He has good. I should submit it to him. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of software he
Hang on a
uses.
second.
Say again, Tom.
Hang on, I'm going there now. Let's see. Whoops.
Now I've had trouble. I think I lost the original unedited version that I made the YouTube video from. I think it's gone too far back in the Ring camera history, and I don't think I have access to that one anymore. So I was smart, and I went and I downloaded all those other ones that you've been seeing and to my laptop from the Ring app, so that I have the unedited versions, before they go away. So anyway, so that I did that, and then and so I'm noticing these look like little orbs, little orblets, little intelligent soap bubbles, and then there's these rod-shaped things. I call them rods. I don't know if they're really the rods that people talk about on, or that you see
Here it is.
online.
See if you can unmute your mic. It's not letting me. I hear it now. Let me do this another way. Hang on a second. Let me do this another way. I'm going to present a video file. There it goes.
Now, is that a weird sound or what? I can't tell you what that is.
I honestly, it sounded like a motorcycle to me.
That's what I thought it was at first too.
Going down and let's see. I can do it this way and we can go back.
Until I heard something almost identical to that kind of sound.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, it's about midnight. The video cameras in front didn't get triggered by anything on the road, but I can't tell you that it's not a motorcycle or a car.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not prepared to say it's something out of the ordinary. It just sounds weird.
Yes.
I do know one thing. I'm not ready to assign something weird, a weird explanation to everything, but I'm a lot less likely to write it off anymore because there's too many things that have kind of come along that I would write off, and I would look at it and go, oh, well, that wasn't what I thought it was. You know, in other words, it wasn't a precipitation. It was something in my camera that I'd been seeing under infrared. And, you know, so that was a significant one. And then there was the one that kind of was that little bubble that came up to the camera and then went back down, and a bunch of other things. And then one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I checked the Ring cameras. I don't know why, but I just did. And I noticed in my sleepy stupor that the motion detector had been going off a lot. Like it was half a dozen or more times that it had gone off over and over and over again. And so I clicked the live view and I recorded, instead of it recording 2 minutes at a time and then getting triggered again and recording another 2 minutes and getting triggered again and recording another 2 minutes, I just clicked it on live view and tried to watch it, but fell asleep, and it recorded for about 12 minutes straight. And that was kind of hair raising, you know. In fact, I'm kind of feeling the hair on my arms kind of getting a little stiff.
The EBGBs. That was EB. Yeah, the EBGBs.
So when I first looked at the video, all I could see was, you know how when you do a video or a camera in and the sun is out there and you get this halo effect, and if you move around, the bright thing has like another reflection, and it, you know, it sort of moves in the lens with it. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. When there's a
lens artifacts.
Lens artifact. Okay. Well, I was seeing this lens artifact, and every time I would see it, then the motion detector would click on, and as soon as the light clicked on, this isn't it, but as soon as the light, well, there's artifact. Yeah, go back to that. See how you see the little bit of lens artifact following that bubble, that thing there, you see it right there, right? Yeah. So I was seeing a very bright artifact, and then the motion detector would click on and the artifact would disappear. And this happened over and over again. And so at first I'm looking and I'm thinking there must have been something up closer to the motion detector, and I'm seeing the artifact, but we can't see the object. Like it was out of view, but it was close to the motion detector and it kept turning it on. That was my first theory, until I got in and I watched the video again a few more times, and then I would see the artifact, and then I followed it even after it turned off. I followed it back, and then there was something. So there's two cameras. There's one on my door and one, I own a duplex and my parents live in the other side. They're closer to the driveway. And my motion detector kept going off, and this artifact would disappear when the light came on and the infrared was drowned out or turned off. But then I followed the angle of that artifact because it looked like it, was on an angle. Somebody said spider web, but you watch this thing long enough, and the spider web theory gets blown out of the water because there's just no way that it did all the things that it did and it was a spider web. But that artifact disappeared, and then I followed it. Okay, so if you pause that video there for just a second.
Oh, I'm not able to pause that one.
You're not able to pause it?
Okay.
Well,
no, I've got it in a different place.
What I'm getting at is that this is my door, and the car over under the light is my parents'. I followed the artifact over to there visually, and I noticed something over there that stayed visible in spite of the light being on. And that was what, and then I started watching that more and more and more, and that was just.
Yeah, that one definitely.
I don't know what to say. It outclasses everything else.
It sure did. It was one of the things that
these little orblets, these intelligent soap bubbles. We got these rod-shaped things that are zipping around real fast, and we got these what I call caterpillar moths that are sort of loping along, and you can see them even in light. But well,
here's the one that you just recently sent me with the rods.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So these things are just blasting by, and it's like a shaft of light. They all have the same width to length ratio, and they zip by. I don't know if they're just orbs moving fast or if they're like rod-like things, but they have this. They're all long like that, and that's what I always thought was precipitation, but it's not, because I've been out there when this is happening, and there's nothing going on. Okay.
You can't see it with your physical eyes, is what you're saying.
I cannot see it with my physical eyes. And I've stood out there going on around me and turned the light on, turned the light off, that kind of a thing. And you could see them, and they don't seem to pay attention to me, and then they will, if you watch them enough, you start seeing them do things that,
exactly.
It eliminates the possibility of it being air currents, because some of them look like they're moving around like a flock of birds or fish, and it could be air currents, but there's other ones that kind of do their own thing, the opposite of the air currents, if they were air currents, and it's like impossible for it to be air currents,
But to me, where's that? Where'd it go? I was looking at a couple that flew by there.
So these are the rod-like things that I'm talking about, and that are real fast, and some of them are bigger and brighter. And I don't know if it's just because it's only 30 frames per second and it's catching, but it just looks like, I don't think it's like an orb moving that distance in that frame, because the whole thing moves every time the frame moves. It's not.
Tom, were you looking for that one that we saw that literally reversed direction in a split second?
Well, that's even a little different, because that had a little comet-like tail, and in one frame it was there with the comet tail going to the left, and then the second frame, 30th of a second later, the comet tail is going the opposite direction.
Wow.
So,
I don't. I thought I had that one. I don't see it here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, but and then this other thing that I was talking about that turned the motion detector on and off all night long, and I caught 12 minutes of. It looks like it's looking around because it's up against the shop, which you're looking at there.
Yeah, that one is impressive.
Car. It's almost like it's probing, looking for a way in. here's
Okay, you're talking about this?
yes. Here's the one thing I want to say about this. All of this stuff I've seen outside, I've never seen on any infrared inside. And
inside your house.
And as far as I'm concerned, they're not welcome inside the house. So I know other people will have different opinions, but there, and so what I have noticed is that all this phenomena, whether it's these little orbs, these rods, or this big guy, it's been seen outside, but it's never seen inside, and I think that's on purpose.
This is the strangest one to me. Selina, did you see what I was talking about? Look up at the top of the video.
Yeah, if you could expand that, that would be even more impressive.
Okay, I just want to show the perspective here of the original video that I got.
Right.
I do have a.
So you have that bright ball off to the left there, the brightest spot. And then if you follow it, it goes up and curves. I think it looks like a coat hanger, like a stick man, like it's the shoulders. And then there's two dots that go above. The brightest.
Well, I zoomed in and played with some contrast. I've got a couple of different videos to show you.
All right, good.
This one was just a contrast reduction and color adjustments.
So look at that. So it goes up and back down, but it also goes up at the top. So it's like a stick figure or a coat hanger almost.
Yeah, I mean it's not an orb.
No, it's not.
If you see that little thing of its eye or whatever, it may look like an orb, but when
that's just the brightest
real
spot.
Close, exactly.
Oh, that's interesting. And here's the other thing.
Substance, you see like an arm or something there.
But here's the other thing. When you see that, if you're able to, what I saw when I looked at the unedited, because what I was doing was zooming in. I was playing it on my phone. I was screen recording, and I was zooming in and recording myself, screen recording, zooming in. When I got back, when I found the unedited version and watched it widescreen again, you would have this come down, go like that, this real bright spot here, right? But there was also another one reflecting or shining up on the shop or down on the car. So it's really quite
right. Big. Are you talking about that yellowish circular one that moved across the ground? Like we were trying to just. I remember that was before we saw the tentacle thing
here. This
here.
is zoomed in, but there's actually it's actually much bigger than this. It's also reflecting on the shop at the same time and down in the car. I say reflecting, or it's extending to that. That's fascinating, though, how you've got that there. That thing was in my backyard, looking like it's trying to get through whatever barrier that I have on my home, and it spent 6 hours out there. 6
oh my God,
hours.
Well, I mean, that,
and it quit 20 to 40 minutes before I started my truck up in the morning and then I started the truck up 20 minutes after it quit, and 20 minutes later I went out to my truck. You can see all that on camera.
Oh God.
So it quit doing its thing about 20 minutes before I started the truck.
Yeah. I mean, that's just this one I think probably shows it.
So that's what I mean by it looked like a coat hanger or a stick figure. I almost think of that as like shoulders and a head,
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, if something's kind of in another dimension and sort of pushing through into our dimension, we don't know what that would look like. It's just, this is just what we can see, We have no idea what that represents.
Let me do something here. Hang on a second. I'm gonna pull this one up this way where we can
tell you this. I showed it to my wife and she said, "Yeah, don't show me that stuff anymore. You're the protector. You're the protector of the house. You deal with it."
Yeah. Oh, crap. I was trying to. I was doing it this way so we could pause it at times. But to me is okay. That is that your fence along
That
the.
is the fence. That is the fence on the other side of my driveway. Yes.
Okay. Now, what I'm seeing is
It's
what
10
I
foot
see is
tall.
part of the body of it. Maybe the body's transparent, but it looks like it's on this side of the fence,
Yes.
inside the
Yes.
fence.
Yes. It's under
I
the
mean,
carport by my parents' door and car.
wow.
Oh.
And it's inside your fence. It's on your property. That's
But
what my
here's the thing: the art of it would trigger my motion detector, not theirs.
Mhm.
I don't know why it didn't trigger theirs, because theirs is closer.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I
I
have
bet you.
I have access to all the cameras. It's my property. I monitor the whole property. Right, their camera, which is closer to this, did not go off. My camera kept going off.
That's
And
freaky. Okay, right there.
Huh. Yeah.
That thing. How tall is that fence?
oh, 6.5 feet.
And this is above
Well,
that.
just think about the car. The car is probably what, 5 foot?
Yeah. And then
The
the fence, and
carport
this
above
thing
us,
is above the fence another 2 feet or so.
it's 8 feet. It's 8 feet at least.
Wow. And it kind of disappears down there at the bottom. You can see where the light part is, and it curves back down in front of the fence, and then either disappears
It's kind
or
of like
makes it.
think about Loch Ness. You only see the head, but the
Well,
rest of
the
it is
thing is right
submerged.
now, there's also a ball of light that's part of this down in
Yep.
the car and one over against the shop too. You can't see it because I zoomed in on this. But on the rest of the video where I didn't zoom in, you can see it's yeah. And it did this all for 6 hours.
Holy cow! 6 hours.
Scott, was this part of the same video? Now that if you freeze it right there, leave it right there. Look at the outline. Think of a guy wearing a headlamp, like a
Yeah.
miner would,
Mhm.
and you see the outline going to the left and to the right, on each side going downward.
Almost like they're looking off to the right or
Yes.
over the right shoulder. Yeah.
Scott, remember that part of the video before I even seen this? You showed me one where it was part of the stuff that was setting off your cameras multiple times, and that light that moved across the ground that was reflecting off of something else.
Mhm.
Remember that? It had almost like a golden hue to it in the light.
Yeah,
in
and
the,
there's a point at which that brightest spot on there, that brightest dot, it changes to blue to green to red,
right, like it was looking through all the other spectrums.
or like it's getting annoyed.
All right.
Yeah.
Look here. This is the very beginning of that video you sent me. You see the bright spot, and down in front of it, it's almost like it's shining a beam itself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
I
not the
just
first
noticed
time.
that now. Wow.
It's not the first time I've seen something like this.
Really?
Yes. Scott, I showed you the video. I don't know, or I told you about it. It was one of the Ghost Hunter shows where they were setting up in the St. Augustine Lighthouse. And they had a camera at the bottom shining upward. They saw one of these black spirit-like things zipping up the stairwell. And then they had the other camera looking straight up. And then you saw this very dark humanoid shape as if it were hooded, but pitch black, looking straight down. And then it looked like it raised up something that looked like a flashlight, like a one of them little handheld little lights, pointing it straight down. That one sent cats climbing up my back. I'm telling you, I didn't know if I wanted to watch the show again after that, but it was just like that, where a light it used an object, an instrument, a light tool, to look straight down. So that was fascinating.
That's what it looks like this is doing. It's look like, I mean, right here at the beginning only. The rest of the video doesn't really, to me, look like that. But right here at the beginning, it looks like it's shining a light, a beam of some kind.
Hmm.
That right there. I mean, it looks almost like almost a snake-like shape. You know,
Yeah.
this is really wild. Oh man.
I thought you'd like this stuff, Tom. That's why I told you about it.
Oh my goodness, this is.
And you're the
I
first to
mean,
see this.
yes, we are, and we are privileged. Thank you, Scott, for letting us see. This is just mind-boggling, mind-blowing, mind-boggling, mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Wow, Selena, what do you think?
It's like it's scanning the perimeter.
Exactly.
Kind of. That's the impression that I get too. It's like it's probing. It's like
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. Are we?
Wild.
I don't want to make supposition because there's no way we know exactly what this is, but
But that's the
I
impression.
mean, exactly. Gives the impression of it's looking for something. It's scanning the environment. I mean, it. I was trying to find it before we went on the air, but there's a movie somewhere out there, and some of you movie buffs may know better than I do, where there was an eyeball on the end of an arm, kind of a tentacle kind of thing.
War of the Worlds.
The abyss.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, the Abyss.
Okay. Well, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it,
Exactly. At first, I thought this might be something like that, but this image here that you froze it on leads me to think that I don't know, whatever we're seeing is a little bit more three-dimensional than just the that it's not a tentacle, but it is the outline of something bigger that
Well,
has a
that's what
light
I
on
was-
its head.
That's what I was saying, Rick. Was that it seemed more like like an outline of an individual, like a giant, you know.
Yes, that's exactly. In fact, the more you move it here, the more I see this. Yeah, that it's not a tentacle; it is the outline of something else.
well, it's transparent if it is,
It is. That's exactly
yeah.
right.
because you can see the fence through it.
Yeah.
Yep. But I can also see some distortion, like
Yes.
like, you know, like you would with the predator. You see distortion as you pass it by something.
Yeah, there is that. Oh man, this is.
Yeah, there it is. Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Look, there's shadow play too. Watch this.
Exactly.
Boom, right there.
Mhm.
Shadows,
I see it.
left and right. I saw it right there at the end. Just
That's perfect.
momentarily.
Scott, what do you got running around in your yard, man?
Well,
I
know,
mean-
the world is full of stuff. But I
Yep.
do know one thing. It's not, it's not welcome. It's not welcome in my home, so it could not get in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, it's like the old mythology of the vampire.
Mhm.
They can
Has to
only
be
come in
invited.
if you invite them in, and we don't invite stuff like
Bad
that.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. But this, could it be? Okay, you've been hearing Linda Moulton Howe talk about a hidden pyramid in Alaska,
Yeah, I heard about that.
underground base, and all this kind of stuff.
Mm.
How far are you from that, Scott? Do you even?
I don't
No.
know. I mean, Alaska's 2.5 times the size
Sure.
of Texas, so
Texas.
Yeah.
it's hard.
Well, where I'm going with that is, could it be military technology that
It's entirely possible.
I mean, are we talking a new cryptid here? Are we talking a Sasquatch that has the predator abilities where it can,
Right.
you know, morph into that, not morph into, but
I think
what's the
it's
word?
probably
Chameleon.
closer to that. Yes, personally, I think
Uh,
it's very much along the lines of the same kingdom in that regard.
yeah, it's just odd. Is this Scott? I'm gonna tell you, this is the strangest thing that I think we've ever shown on this show.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
the
the
strangest
reports
thing that
are
I've ever
amazing.
had,
Yeah,
had a personal encounter with.
yeah. Well, I
So
was
I
gonna say that.
can I,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead because I wanted to kind of follow up with the
So
orc
it
stuff.
looks like you have turned on the ability for me to share my screen. So can I do that with the bigger video of this? Can I give that a try?
Yes. Well,
All
you
right.
had
So
it, but I
share.
don't think you were able to see it on your phone before.
All right. No, no, but I'm on my computer now. So screen sharing works best on a good computer. Okay. Da, 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 da. All right. Share screen. Now we're going to open system preferences. We're going to choose what you want to share.
You should be able to share a video file.
Yeah. I was trying to share my actual screen.
Oh, you can do that too.
But
There you go.
window. Oh,
There you go.
hold on. Screen,
All right,
Yeah, we saw that.
share screen or window.
that was from somebody else.
Oh, that was somebody else.
QuickTime
Yeah.
Player. There we go. That's what I want to share. Okay. Chrome has lost permission to capture screen. To fix it. Okay. Da da da. Unlock this screen by the lock button on the left. I'm not sure what that means, but let's.
We learn as we go.
That's right.
We'll make this work. We're gonna share an entire screen. Share. We're gonna share this one or window. We want to share QuickTime Player.
I just want to say, Tom, that frequency of light that you use, that spectrum, to capture this, you enhanced it, right, to make that scene
Yeah.
that we just saw. That was brilliant. It enhanced what we could not see in any of the other frequencies we were using, and they were pretty useful, but we couldn't see that outline. That was
Yeah,
good.
that was the first time I saw it. And I even edited it. I was focused more on editing than I was content at the moment, and
Right.
just because I wanted to get different
But that was
hues, different looks,
yeah,
different contrast.
that was the first time that I saw that where I didn't see a tentacle. I saw a full outline that looked like it simply was where the light was interacting with it, but the outline of what the bright pointed light at the that it was viewing was right there. So that was really amazing. Yeah, see, it looks it just looks like it's on something. It's not a tentacle. It's just it's
Yeah.
a device being worn, and the outline is carrying. Yeah, that's the best one right there. He's wearing a light on the top of his head, shining around,
Yeah.
trying to look around.
It is so freaky. I don't know. I mean, the only word I can use is strange.
Yeah. Well, there
That's
have been
what it's all about.
many anecdotal reports of Sasquatch following people who have encountered them in just out of range of their spectrum, their visual spectrum, in a ghost-like appearance. And they can move. I personally believe they can move in and out of that realm where we can't see them. They're from another place. And
Well, that's one of the
yeah,
theories that's being touted right now is that
yeah.
they can transport.
Yeah, the supernatural Sasquatch is a hard thing for a lot of the apes, ape guys to swallow. Like what was his name? I forgot what his name was. He was at the last Sasquatch convention. Bigfoot convention here.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to share it, Scott. You had it up there.
Oh, there you go.
Here we go. Okay, see the artifact? You saw the artifact at the
Over on the
beginning
right.
there?
Mhm.
I'm gonna back it up. Okay, see the artifact?
Yeah, that's
Down at
That's
the
it.
bottom.
what I saw to start. And see how there's an angle that triggers the motion detector. The light comes on, the artifact goes away. Okay. Now, once I'm gonna bring this over here. So now what you're seeing here is, I think I got the longest video. So now if you look over to the right, it should be playing.
It is.
All right. You can kind of see it. It's not high resolution right now on my screen. Is it on yours? It's kind of
No.
pixelated.
There it comes. It started now.
okay. Yep.
See
got
it
it.
over there?
Yeah. Over on the right. You can see it there.
All right.
Okay.
From here, it looks like an orb.
Okay. Now, but I still see the long part.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to get at is I want to.
I'm not sure it's getting out here. I'm not sure we're seeing what you're seeing, Scott.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I
I
don't.
see the light part of it bouncing up and down above the car.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as I get a chance, I'm going to freeze it and then I'm going to show you something else. So there
Really
it is.
quick, that light circle on the ground that we see, I think it is what that light is that is pointing outward, and that is a reflection off the ground, and the way light reflects, off the ground into its adjacent opposite direction, just reflecting backwards. So whatever that thing is wearing made that circle on the ground, and it's reflecting back toward your house. That's just a thought.
Well, hang on. It's going to show something. So this is the unedited one that is kind of the whole wide view. Okay, this is my back door looking over across there, but I'm going to move forward a little bit. Let's see if I can move. Let me see if I can get it.
Richard, your face grew.
Yes, I am using a magnifying glass. I want to see it too.
All right, maybe I may not have shared the video that I wanted.
Yeah, I don't think this is it. This is not the one with the light on the ground.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
still see
So
over
there it
on the
is.
right.
Yeah, it's kind of moving around. I'm trying to capture it where it's showing in multiple places. Okay, but
that is just amazing. I mean, having seen that, now see this, it's just like it's almost like standing but behind the car.
Well, see, the
between the
carport is about 8 or 9 feet tall, right? So,
wow. I mean, from here, it looks like it's standing between the car and the fence. Wait, now it just went over in front of that post.
all right. How do I stop it? So you've shared these. How do you get out of it, Tom?
Just remove it.
Okay, yeah.
Bottom where it says remove.
Remove.
Down at the bottom where it shows the small screen down at the bottom.
I see it at the back of the car, next to the post, by the fence, moving back and forth.
Yeah.
That's clear as day. And at the beginning, we saw the light reflected off of the ground by that little stairwell thing there, or whatever that is in the foreground at the bottom of the screen. That was that lends high credence to the whole thing.
Well, this is that first one. This is a friend of mine in Ohio recorded this and captured this.
Yep.
Wait a minute, I was going to do it this way. Hang on. I mean, look at that. It's almost like it's, I don't know, a
Yeah.
little squat angel with wings. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, I would have said that looks so fake until I saw some other things that I've captured on my cameras that to me look so fake, but I know it's not because it happened to me. So
Exactly.
Yeah, it
I mean,
has that
that's
1930s
yeah,
almost
special effects.
cartoonish special effects style. But you're looking
right.
at how high it is, where it came up by there's nobody there holding a fishing rod with a string attached to it. It's
No,
not. It's just not there.
came out of the ceiling,
Yep, right out of the ceiling.
you know, and it's like 4 different orbs together.
Oh, now that's new. Yeah.
See, it actually looks like 4 or 5 there,
If you could
but
have
if it gets
got
closer,
a clear zoomed in picture, that would have been great.
yeah. Well, I haven't done any special stuff to this video. I've had him on the show a couple of times, and he's shown this every time he's come on the show because it's just so amazing.
Yeah, we've watched it recently, Scott and I have, and
Yeah,
it's definitely a head scratcher, no doubt.
yeah. And Scott, this stuff is just blowing my mind. I don't know. Um, I mean, this thing, is it something in a suit, transparent? Looks like, I, God, this is just so mind-boggling to me. I mean, are we talking about a new cryptid? Are we talking about an ET? Not
Well,
executive
it
team.
could be
Well,
anything. I mean, there could be somebody in the occult sending something to, that doesn't like me, sending something my
yeah,
direction, I mean, and it just couldn't get through, it could be supernatural wildlife, like, Richard likes to, term. I think the rods and the stuff like that are more like supernatural wildlife. In other words, we think of it as
Yeah.
just
Like the plankton in the ocean, or
right.
the like you're walking through a cloud of gnats, and occasionally the big orb comes
yeah.
through. That's the dragonflies and other wildlife that's out there. Some of
Um,
it maybe sentient. Some of it may
But
not
this
be.
seems of a different class. This seems like a different
yeah,
class.
this is yeah, your
Heck,
orbs and your rods are on one level, and this is a whole nother
yeah,
level.
this is Skinwalker Ranch level stuff right here. I'm telling you.
Well, I don't know, but
That's just, I mean, I look at that and I'm like, just, I'm tongue tied
well,
because what do you say? I mean, we
maybe a
see
viewer out
it.
there will recognize this as something that they've seen before, and and
Yes,
they
if
can
you're
comment.
watching and you have seen something similar, please comment, get in touch with us. Because I'm baffled. It's uh, again, there's something there. I don't, and like Scott said, if he had seen this from somebody else, he would have swore it was faked. But he recorded this himself, his own camera, and we are just
Yeah, look how it looks like
hornswoggled.
it's turning its head, like it turned its head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there. Yeah.
looking
Oh, like it's a hood. Oh my gosh, it looked like it was almost like a hood
good.
in
Yeah,
that section there. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's looking straight at us.
Yep.
This is
Where
so wild.
Now I got the chills, Scott. The EBGBs, you gave them to me. Oh, full on, man.
yeah. See, now all of this, I could see this on my own stuff. I probably, when I shared it with you guys, it wasn't as visible, but I could see all that. That's why I always called it a coat hanger. Looked like a coat hanger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see it now as an outline of the full thing.
Right.
It's standing up, it's upright, it's looking around, it's scanning. It's got shoulders. That's what I'm looking at the sides. It's got shoulders, and whatever it is, its physical form interacts with whatever environment it's in. We're seeing the light around it, thanks to the spectrum that Tom is using for us to see it in. We can see that now.
This is just blowing my mind, guys. Scott,
So I
Thank
got
you.
one other video I would like to
Yeah.
share. I just transferred it to my thing. So this was about 4 a.m. one morning. I go walking out for one reason or another, and I walk past my parents' door, and the light turns on, and right after I pass, this thing, and this is visible, not infrared, and this is the most fake looking one that I say, this looks fake to me. If it wasn't for the fact that I did it, I would think that it was fake. I think it's uploading at the moment.
Yep, it's beginning to show here. Just a second.
Okay.
it's playing. It's just
There we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's our little
little
critter.
Let me start it over again. Let me right there at the beginning. So I had just walked by, and then out of nowhere, this thing just flies up and then flutters by and then disappears into the concrete. You see how it just pixelates away as it into nothing. Okay, I called it a caterpillar moth because it looked like both a caterpillar and a moth, you know. But here I go walking by in my robe, and and then right after that, watch, right from under the car tire, flutter out. This is not the best video that I could have chosen because I zoomed in, and the zoom in is almost less impressive than the one that's not zoomed in.
Okay. What do you guys feel about vortexes?
I think that the portals are just openings into another, dimension and plane. I mean, even the Bible talks about, the windows of heaven opened up, and we could see things. So I think that there are places where the ability to kind of see one vibrational plane versus another is a lot easier, for one reason or another.
Yeah.
There are places where that barrier is thin, easier to pass through. And there's a variety of reasons why that's the case.
Well, I'm just wondering if maybe this is what's going on there and things are filtering in and out.
Yeah. I have asked Scott about if he knew whether he was living on an ancient Indian burial ground or anything of that nature, and because some of those kinds of things, but no.
Well, I've removed that from my repertoire of go-to answers, the Indian burial ground, because they're so rare and so few and far between. And
exactly.
Hold on, we got another comment. Lynn says kind of a snake light or something. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So, but Scott, what is your feel? What's the emotional side of it? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling apprehension with these things, or is it just mild curiosity?
You want my honest take is, I think, there's a word Richard likes to use the saying, we swim in their ocean, in other words, there's a sea of things going on around us all the time. I'm not anxious. I feel vigilant.
Yeah.
Like this is my domain. I'm in charge here, and as a Christian, I have, certain rights and privileges if I'm submitted to the Lord. And it's not arrogance, and I'm certainly not going to foolishly, go challenging, things that I don't know anything about. But I do know this is my home, and I find it interesting that I never see it inside of the house and any of these
Right.
things. And I do have infrared cameras inside the house, and I never
Mhm.
see any of this stuff going on. But and when I see the flurry, it comes it goes down, it comes from
Yep.
the side and goes by, it comes in and goes up, and it's, and it's like it's not allowed in, and I think that's now
What I think that's what the thing was looking for when it was probing your place,
way in.
is where the barrier is, where if there's any holes in it.
And some would say, well, if they could be good, and if you're not open to them, then they can't come in because you're not open to it. That doesn't mean they're bad. I don't think that the forces that I believe are good operate like this.
Well, here's the bottom line is it's your house,
Mhm.
and if you don't feel comfortable allowing them in, then that's it. For me for me or anyone to say, "Oh, they may be good, and so you're wrong. You need to be." No, that's not our place. I mean, it's your place. It's your life. It's your experience. And if
Well,
you
what's interesting is that, like,
not open to let them in,
two nights
yeah,
ago, I fell asleep, and my sleep was a little disturbed. And as I fell, you know how a lot of these videos that I have, it's like a snowstorm coming, and
right.
it goes, right. I fell asleep, and in this short little dream that I had, they were all coming right at me like
Wow.
that, and I woke up, and it was not a pleasant feeling. It was like we want to get in there, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, you're not allowed. And
Well, that's
it doesn't scare me to
yeah,
walk around outside or anything like that. I mean,
right.
I know who I belong to, and greater is He that's in me than all of this stuff out there. And so I'm not going to go picking a fight, but I'm also not afraid of one.
Right.
So,
Well, that was my point. I mean, it's your place. You're not afraid of it, but you have no desire to bring it in. It's a curiosity factor for you at the moment.
well, it's curious because backyard.
Yeah,
It's not, I'm
exactly.
not curious like I'm going looking for it. It's just like, what are you
Exactly.
doing in my backyard?
Right.
And
Who are you
who are
coming
you,
in
and
my
why are you here?
Exactly. And man, I'm just blown away by all this. Y- you know, I
Now, I know
think
that not everybody's going to agree with me on that, but that's my
right.
opinion.
Well, see, I mean, like I said, the major tenet of this show is the proof. The only absolute proof of the supernatural, paranormal is personal experience. This is your experience, and
And
no
it
one.
doesn't hurt to have the videotape evidence of that.
No, it doesn't. It's just cool to share. But I mean,
I thought
this
that
is your
sense, that dream of all these things coming right at me was interesting.
Yeah, Scott, you didn't tell me about this before, or at
No,
least if you did,
this
yeah,
just happened
you,
like last night, the night before.
yeah. We'll talk about this later, bro. I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
well, Selena. Give me some feelings. You're
Hi,
feeling
Selena.
something.
Who are you? You've been there, and I must have missed the introduction.
She's one of our team.
Yeah,
Hello,
She's one of the
team.
team.
I can
She's
see
one
her
of
on my.
Well, I've seen you the whole
Well,
time. I just didn't know who you were.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you did miss that part, Scott. Selena.
Yeah.
This is
Hi.
Scott. This is Selena.
Hello.
Selena, I want to hear your feelings. You're feeling something right now. What is it?
Well, to me, the one that is like scanning, it's like to me, it's like they're scanning. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And I think that your dream most likely was a warning because something was trying to get into your area, into your home, and I think that it was like kind of like a premonition that you were being warned that these things were coming kind of after you, and it kept you waking up like that kept them from coming into your domain.
Well, it's that same old mythology about the vampire. They can only come if
Yeah,
they have permission, and
exactly.
that's weirdly that is a truth. I've gone on
Hmm.
multiple ghost hunts, and I've never brought anything home with me, and the reason is because I don't let it. This is my home, this is my domain, and that was over there. If there's anything there, it doesn't come home with me. And every ghost hunt, I've told everybody that was there,
Um,
it's up to you whether anything goes home with you or not.
Tom, have you ever heard of? I don't know. I may have mentioned him before, but have you heard of Mark Barton, who was a former Bigfoot researcher?
A name sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I think he had his own show, or at least part of a show, and he was a big
Bigfoot
name on it.
Odyssey, Bigfoot Odyssey,
Ah,
Info.
Bigfoot Odyssey.
I think
Okay.
it was.
Yeah, he had an experience, a very harrowing experience. I'll tell you about that later. But um, when he went to escape what had captured him, he slammed the door behind him. It was a cabin door, and he heard them yelling outside, "Let us through the threshold!" And they were yelling, and they were raging. And
Mm,
Tom said, "I could have jumped in the tent and zipped it closed, and it would have stopped them." So it doesn't matter what kind of door it is or whatever. It's whether or not you let this in to your life, your
right,
realm, your however that may work. It has real, genuine, supernatural uh, ramifications. And so that was what I wanted to say about that. But Tom Barton has the most enlightening story, most hair-raising
I'll share the
thing
link
you
with
could
you when
ever
we get.
imagine.
Yeah, yeah. We'll share the
well,
link with
Scott,
you.
I think the bottom line is something strange is going on around your place. It could be a
Yep.
portal, vortex in place, but you are keeping it at bay.
Hmm.
And you may not even verbalize it, but your sense of person and your sense of being is keeping it at bay. And this is what I've said before. We, if you're watching, if you believe in God and you believe certain things, the tenets of Christianity, then you believe that man is the penultimate of God's creation, and therefore anything else is in power and authority lower than we are. And these things that are out there have to get our permission. They can't
Well,
just.
but
They
the thing
try.
is let's
Yeah.
let's, let's go on the assumption, just for the sake of argument, that okay, it's not friendly. Okay,
Mhm.
um, I know there's going to be those that are going to say that it is, and that's fine. Let's
Right.
just, for the sake of this discussion, let's say it's
Mhm.
not. Um, you know, I'm I I don't think I'm any match for just anything out there. It's who I belong to. That's 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 the key. I belong, you know, uh, you know, to the creator
Right.
of all of this, good and bad, and he's got to get through his. Now, but what I was going to get at, I forget it. We can. It is so easy to be deceived into allowing permission by dabbling in things that may or may not. I have to wonder. I would never mess with a Ouija board. I know I've heard way too many
Mhm.
things, stories about bad happenings that
Right.
happened because of doors that were open because of Ouija boards. So that's not something that I'm going to do. But I'm a gold miner, amongst other things, and I picked up a couple of rods and tried my hand at dowsing,
Mm.
Yeah.
and I'll be darned if those things didn't move and I didn't do it. Did I? Was I just? Am I? Is that? Am I opening a door there? You know, uh,
Well.
my desire to, locate some shiny minerals, and it's like, hey, this seems to work, but is it, it's so easy for us to be deceived into allowing access to ourselves by something that may not be friendly.
It might be innocuous that, this seems harmless and such, but there it is. It's all big.
It's a game of chess or a game of poker if you're into that kind of thing. And the key is, I took up an interest in learning poker, not because I think that gambling is a good idea. I find the game fascinating because you not only, do you have the luck of whether you got a good hand or a bad hand, but the thing is can you convince somebody else that you either have a good hand when you don't, or that you have a weak hand when you really got a winning hand, because they're not going to put all their chips in the pot if they know that you have a really good hand. So there's that whole game of, can I get them to put it in the pot? I've not, I'm just playing a game, right? Can I get them to put it in the pot when I have a good hand? Don't let them make them think that I've got a weak hand. If these things are not friendly, they're playing poker too. Yeah. And it's like, make you think that they have a weak hand and you step into a trap.
Well, think about this. You're calling them out, though.
Yeah.
By sharing all of this, you're calling them out. You're saying, "Hey, look at this."
But I have to stay humble, though, because it could be so easy to think that I've got the winning hand, and then I step into something where I'm in over my head.
Well, I think you do have the winning hand.
Well, I do, but I got to be. Part of the winning hand is knowing when to fold them.
Even the apostles.
A winning hand is folding when you have a losing hand. Yeah. And not getting into that, not putting all your chips in that spot.
Right.
So when I fold a bad hand, that's a winning hand.
Yeah, I hear you. But my point is, you're just like we said at the beginning of the show. A lady mentioned that this show was. She described this show as shining a light in the dark corners to show that there's nothing really scary there anyway. Right. And putting this out there and you sharing this with us and us sharing it with whoever's watching, you're shining a light on this. And if it is evil, what do the roaches do when the light shines on it?
Yeah.
They scatter.
Right.
So, you have taken pains to protect you and yours and your property. And what we're doing is shining a light in that dark corner, and all the roaches are going to scatter. So this has been just phenomenal.
Selina,
and amazing.
I feel like you had more to say. Did you? No?
No.
She does that. I'm going to tell you, she's going to message me later and say, yeah, I did. I was going to say this. She's done that to me every show. Right, Selina?
Your impression of what we've seen so far, I feel like you had more to say about it, but you don't have to. I don't have to be agreed with. I'm okay with that. So if you got something to say,
Okay. It's all fascinating, everything. It's just, I don't know. You're definitely being watched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Scott and I have talked about this aspect of it. For some reason, they got the spotlight on him, and we don't feel good about it. And so, from our personal perspective,
that's what I'm saying. You're taking that spotlight and you're putting it back on them, and they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute! Nobody's supposed to see what we're doing." Well, we see it.
That's why I think it's a great idea to put this on your show there, Tom, because
Thank
it's not on Johnny Carson. It's on something that's going to have a little bit higher level of credibility, especially among those of us who can see into the supernatural realm with God's help and grace,
Wow.
and
This
be
may
able to do stuff about it.
this may be just a coincidence, but I don't like coincidences.
Mm-mm.
But I lost all access to the cameras from my phone.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes,
I
that's
still can
Damaging
access them through my computer, but my
Right.
phone, it got messed up, and then I had to like try to deauthorize my my phone, and then it's a big complicated thing to get
Right.
reauthorize the device, because you got this
Oh, wow.
and so for a while now, I don't have access to all the cameras via my phone. I can do it. I can get to them from my computer, but not my phone.
The
when
heat
you
is on.
yeah when you said that it could all be a coincidence. I thought at first you were being somewhat facetious, and that's why I laughed until you began to explain that part of it. I remember you telling me about the access, and you still haven't been able to recover it. Is that right?
Well, I'm going to have to. Yeah, it's a complicated thing to authorize at least it's not at first, but for some reason I can't seem to reauthorize the phone that I had unauthorized in order to try. I lost it all. I deleted the app. I put it back on. I tried to get it, and then I deauthorized it so that I could reauthorize it, and it's just nothing's working. So I got to get a hold of them and figure
You're
out how and
you're
why.
on an iPhone, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I had an iPhone where I worked for almost 4 years. I hated them.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just joking. It's to each his own. I found that out. Some people love Apple. Some people love Android. So, Scott, thank you so much. Richard, thank you. This has been eye opening and just freaking amazing. And Selena, I appreciate you being here and giving your insight. Guys, we're going to call it. I've got probably one more special show before the end of the year. So be watching for that. I'll be announcing that soon as I get some confirmation from our special guest that I want to have on here. Some people you may have seen before, but not on this show, but on other shows.
Sounds great.
So we're looking forward to it. Again, Scott and Richard, thank you. Thank you,
It was
watchers.
fun talking about it.
Yes, it has been.
It has been.
And so, watchers, look for us soon. We'll be announcing real soon and what's going on. And so, Scott is getting ready for battle. Oh my God! Like, what was it?
Well, either crossbow or an axe,
guitar.
right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Works.
All right. We'll see you soon. Stay safe on your strange journeys. Good night.
All right, take care.